Have 3 left?
Hello everyone, this is General Haggerty. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. This is the last day, part 3. We've already lost a lot of shit, especially the Americans. As expected, they lost a lot of stuff over there in the Pacific. It's Red Carcass's turn with the British now. We've done the German, the Russian, and the Japanese turn. Russian turn doesn't take long now. We noticed. One of the things that the Germans did is they came in here with the subs, and he brought in all his planes too, thinking that the British might be dumb enough to scramble, but they didn't. But there was 3 British boats that that they were attacking. So now there's these 3 British boats left, and he's come in there with his 4 fighters and 4. You can pair fighters and destroyers. 4 fighters and 4 destroyers to kill these 3 subs. And there's no way that the subs can shoot the fighters, so that's pretty good. You can go anytime you want. So we're just setting up the attacks here.
Yeah, sure.
Destroyers. My fighters are at 7. My destroyers are at 4.
Good.
Okay,
So the blues. Now, where do you want this?
anywhere, just put it down. Don't worry about me.
So the blues are my fighters at 7, and the yellows are my destroyers at 4. I got 1 hit, 2, 3 hits.
Okay, and in my case, is it just 1 round of combat, or what is it?
Well, the destroyers. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You only have 3.
You have the option. You have the option to roll, or
then only 6 years can roll, right? And you rolled 6. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
What are you talking about? I brought in 4 planes on cap.
Right.
To hunt
Oh yeah,
them.
fair point.
4
yeah,
and
that's
4.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 at 3. Miss all around.
Whew. It's the only way I can kill subs. Is
So he's gonna take them off cap.
have them in range of cap. That ship's just gonna move in there.
And he's gonna put that on there. So these are going back to London.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to leave them in there.
Nah, I don't want to leave them in the water.
Okay.
I might need them somewhere else, and if they're in the water, then they only have to move 1 to go back home.
That's
So,
right.
so now what I need to
Forgot to
do
put
is
this guy back on.
I'm gonna
There we
move a larger number of my fleet in here.
I paid the damage all but 1 of them here.
Okay, sounds good.
So I only put 2 items on the factory.
So
The rest were all militia.
I'm gonna need to get a fleet card here.
A Birch one? I think they're all over there.
It'll make it a lot easier. Is that fleet?
Do you have another battle?
That I'm attacking, just that convoy over there,
Okay, here, because I can
and
do
a
that.
convoy on the British up there, or
I
the
can do
Germans
that.
up there.
All right.
Just give me the right card. Okay, there we go.
Matches your flag, so.
Yep.
All right. Super sub convoy and the Germans in the mag there, on the Baltic.
Yep.
2, so I rolled a 6.
The subs or the transports were in here?
Use 2.
You,
4. No, yours is advanced. Yeah.
but you only have 3 there to lose, so.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna hit that one there as well. 1, ooh, I rolled a whole 3.
And 4.
And you lost nothing. So the Germans lost $3 and the
Yeah.
Japanese lost nothing.
All right.
They can't roll for. That's all good though.
So,
I've also taken that
Okay.
with the tank that was here.
Is there any worth it?
what about this commander
It's worth
here?
$1. So.
What about this commander? Is he gonna stay out
He's
here?
gonna stay with the fleet, yeah.
This one or this one?
The new fleet.
Okay.
The one you got.
On the battleship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna be moving more of that Navy over.
Okay, are you moving any dudes in?
I am moving a bunch of dudes off the trannies. I was thinking about 5 or so, but maybe 6. I'm gonna
6?
build 2 more, so that was 6. 3 transports worth.
Okay. Put them in there.
And then that's it for. I'm probably gonna put everything together on that card. I'm not sure yet, but
All of this stuff too?
yeah, I don't need it all. I don't want to leave. Unless you're planning on joining my fleet there.
You could leave this guy on escort duty out here.
Yep.
The Canadian.
But I don't want to leave that tranny alone.
Oh, don't forget about your convoy here too, right?
I already rolled it, and I rolled the Japanese convoy too.
Did you get him in here?
Yeah.
Oh,
$3.
Wait, right now.
I took this one, so Italy goes down $1 and the rest go back up $1.
Here you go.
Ooh, for
Careful,
turn.
careful.
Yeah. For one
There we
turn.
go.
That's right.
So what else you got?
Well, I got another commander that's going to come across here. I can fly him, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. These guys here, they've already non-combat moved. They
Non-combat moved.
come from Lorraine.
And I moved 2 from the other place down. I just couldn't do that non-combat moving
Sure.
with the transports
Yeah, yeah.
unless I was successful on your subs.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yep. All good.
and this was a non-combat move of 4 for base, and I had to use the naval move for the one ship
Oh yeah, the battleship. Yeah.
because it wouldn't have reached otherwise.
Makes
So.
sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I screwed up here. The 3 dudes weren't going to go here. They were going to go here. So
I don't know what you're doing. We're doing
yeah,
my
these
turn
are
right
three.
now.
These are 3 militia that are going to go on that
Right.
part.
Right.
And I gotta fly this in. I forgot to
these guys
strategic
are down
bomb me
here.
with anything. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
I need to get long range aircraft so I can bring my fighters along.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you could have carpet bombed this spot right here.
Yeah. But I can fly them down with these guys, right?
Yeah.
Makes me a juicy target if you want to bring some planes in, but
Juicy targets.
yeah. Alright, that's
That's it.
the British turn. I can't reach you, so I'll just move forward there. I haven't placed all my dudes.
You've
yet.
got a transport there. You could have used your transport to transport the brains up.
I could have.
And then you've got the truck that can go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I already moved stuff. And,
Okay. So
Right?
you're done.
I already did a move, so.
So right here, France is attacking Northern Europe or Northern Italy, or turn, I guess it's called.
Since I moved a couple guys.
And this
up
is
there,
what we
taking
got.
A ship off so I can replace it with that.
Hey Jinx, on the transport, these guys are coming from Africa. There's
Okay.
a mountain and a foreign legion,
All right.
and it's just a transport.
Just a chance.
I was gonna bring my whole navy in, but I
Okay.
didn't.
Double casualties on those ones first, I guess. Hey.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. You get that box that he's got. I get this one.
Yeah. And eventually we'll.
I'm gonna stand up here.
Eventually I'm gonna have a morning coffee.
Actually, you know what? Here, you take your box. It's got your dice in it.
It does. All right. You got all the lucky ones out of it.
Okay, so
Are there lucky dice?
Yeah, I thought so. I brought some, didn't I? Or weighted dice.
Did you bring some weighted dice? Yeah. Let me know if they roll high or low. Yeah.
that town
So far, it
convoy
seems
mine's
like
only
everyone's got
one.
weighted dice unless you're looking to
No.
roll high.
It's not worth me losing the sub just to go. Well, actually, it's hard to kill subs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Forget about that.
Yeah, you gotta bring a plane. He doesn't have a carrier, so.
Yeah, let's take that sub there. That sub's gonna go in there in convoy. Okay, so let's do that first. That convoy.
Convoy. All right.
Always wanted to convoy with the French.
On the Italian.
So I'm +2,
+2.
4. One. So you
up
lose
to
1. It's only 1.
Yeah, you can't lose any more than one.
Yeah. So I need to take away 3 afterwards and 1 from Italy.
Yeah.
Okay, so first strike's right here at 3.
First strike it is. Yep.
Do you have any first strike?
Oh, I got one.
Okay. So
Good.
3. Missed. Okay.
Yeah, you put
Now
down
I've got
on
6,
the
7
line,
at 2.
Sure.
so 1 and 3.
Right.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 at 3. Okay, I'll do these first 2 columns here first.
Sure.
So the blues are 2, the greens are 3. 1, 2, 3, Just 3.
3 out of those first 2 columns?
Yes.
Not including RD?
What?
Not including the artillery?
Yeah, not including the artillery.
3 hits?
The artillery had missed.
Can I go like this?
So then,
Oh, this guy's.
That's
Cool.
not on my side?
He's dead already. He's
I've been-
dead.
he's
If
the
you want-
captured equipment,
I don't know where his
got a tank destroyer at 5.
pin is.
Alright.
That's a hit.
Hit for tank destroyer.
And I've got a tank. I guess. Okay, I'm gonna roll the tank will be the green one,
Sure.
and
Aircraft blue.
aircraft blue. 2. Oh, damn! I missed the aircraft. So another hit with the tank,
Another hit with the tank it is.
and medium bomber at 7. Hit.
Hit. Alright.
So he's down there.
Okay, your shots.
My shots. Alright.
Doesn't
so
he go up one, the general? The medium bomb?
Yeah, they do, but they're in
Mountain
No,
borders.
yeah.
These
It
are the
goes
ones
up
at
to get
7.
down to.
No, only one hit. Out of the high hit rollers.
It's,
Here's the yellow at 6. Oof. Bad stuff happened.
Did you roll your fighter yet?
I did, yeah. Yeah, you missed.
Good.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 at 5. Bad rolls all around for Italians.
So you got 2 hits.
So far. And then I have 1, 2, 3 at 3. Yep, just bad rolls for me.
Okay, so the first hit, I've got to take the
Mhm.
double casualty.
Yeah.
And then, so just, how many hits? 2 altogether?
2.
2 all together, yeah.
Okay, so let's take this guy off. So now I've got 5 left.
And I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here.
Okay, thanks. Oh, actually, one more.
So with generals, do they have any feature like with the army with the general? Can they retreat or not?
No.
So no other special features. No. No
Your
defending?
planes could retreat, but other than that,
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
else good.
All right. How many do you got? I think I might just do that retreat. Yeah, I think I will retreat my aircraft because you're probably going to win this round. So my aircraft are declaring a retreat, and your guys all bump up 1 space.
Yep.
Because you're outside of the mountain borders. So they will retreat to here. To Rome itself. And these guys, well, we're down to
Only
3
the
left.
Russian Navy could come and liberate Rome.
Okay. So 6 at 3. That's 1. 3 at 4. That's another one.
1 more hit. That's all I need.
Tank destroyer at 6.
Got 'em.
Got him.
So I got 2 at 7. There's my hits. And I have 1 at 5. Oh, just 2 hits.
Okay.
Yeah, bad rolls for the Italians.
But they are Italians, we know
They are Italians. They grounded.
Yeah, we couldn't wait for them to get into the war finally. 3rd day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's just move that here. So, dude, so you can have your factory back.
Mhm.
The tank destroyer. You're just tuning in for the first time. I'm using the T-34 for the tank destroyer because it's an oversight on my part. I never thought that France would ever last past
Sure, yeah.
1940, so I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
bought them any tank destroyers. And an artillery, and a commander, and these things got to fly home. I think they're just going to go back to Paris.
Alright.
Okay. And I've already done, and I did my convoy. So these things here, can you just put them underneath the militia over there?
Sure.
And then I'm done.
Alright.
And that is it for the French and the British turns. So let's take you around here. So who's next? Italy?
Italy.
Looks like the Yugoslavians are drunk again. Okay.
I can't go.
So you see what's going on with Russia here. Hope these guys are off. Russia they're all gone over here. They're just over here now. And you see down here in America.
Oh, you don't get that miter factory out of the northern?
Yeah, I do. I just haven't
I
gone
see.
into my box to get it yet.
I'll switch you.
I was gonna shut this off.
Sure.
I was gonna put these French bullets on this turn, but I figured I was gonna need some ground troops instead.
Yeah.
Plus, he keeps hitting me with rockets. Rockets have changed this game. In case you haven't, you weren't around, or we didn't explain it. I can't remember if we did or not. But rockets in this game have a range of 3, and I don't think they're a facility anymore because they can't be strategically bombed. The only way you can kill one is if you take over a territory where the rocket is, and then the rocket gets destroyed. So what it does is 1d6 of damage, or it can try to carpet bomb at a 1 or a 2, try to hit one unit. But so it's a lot better. Like that range of 3 makes a huge difference. Before, like, you basically had to be right next to whoever you were trying to hit with a rocket. Now, you know, like, I mean, you're still not going to launch them from Australia or anything, but 3 makes a big difference. So anyway, I'm gonna get some breakfast here, so I'll be back. Okay, so Ray Carcass is the British player, and he is got it all battle boarded up here. He's coming across. He's coming from Picardy, which is already on the mainland. He's doing a channel crossing with Marines on an amphibious assault move. And he's got transports, he's got bombardment shots, he's got all kinds of shit. And Jinx is the German player, and that's what he's got.
Just a quick thing while you're out in here. So tank destroyer is marked as 4, but in the new sheets it's marked as 5.
Yeah, it's 4.
Is it 4?
We're using the battle board. So
Okay, all right. But you've said that battle board is flawed. You mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
Don't always
but
trust
what I
it.
meant was the shore bombardment of that.
Okay.
Like we've been playing where, like, I've rolled a few times
Sure,
where
okay.
my defenders were 4.
Right. Okay. All right.
A number of times actually now, like 3 or 4. And see, should point out where he's attacking over there.
That here.
That right there. That's where that is. So he finally attacked Belgium, and we'll see how that
There's
turns
my
out for him.
bombardments there.
You can see
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
we moved in on Italy there last turn. I think you were there for that. Italy has been reinforced big time. Lots of German planes and everything. So now we're trying to go back at.
Sorry, I wasn't done bombardments.
Yeah.
On the fighter I've left on the Navy, I should probably bring that along. That was the
Fair
plan.
enough. Yeah.
Alright.
And do you have any other attack moves? Like you might as well go in here, right?
Yeah, why not?
There you go.
Sure.
That becomes British. This you can't attack, right? Like, it's too tough.
No. I don't even. Yeah, it's not worth it right now.
And not from there to there.
No,
It
I'm
looks
gonna
too
do I'm gonna have to do a non-combat on that side. So I haven't done my purchase for FEC or non-combat yet.
So while you guys are getting ready, I'll just show you what's happened over here in the Pacific. Like, there's a big battle about to happen. I think we talked earlier about when we took all those ships out of the Mediterranean, they were going to come down. So this is what they were coming down for. We knew that Australia was going to be a target. We wanted to get a navy together to do something. We know that the Japanese Navy, like the bulk of the Japanese Navy right there, they're going to be able to come down here and hit this navy. But that's what we wanted, though. We wanted to draw them away. We wanted to split them up. We, you know, like we needed ways to try to kill it somewhat, right? To try to eliminate it. And he's already taken an Australian territory and New Zealand. So they're trying to get both places back. The Anzac are trying to get both places back right now. They're attacking a destroyer there. They're attacking a destroyer here. And then you see what's happened in America over here. Now this is just one of the rules that it totally irks me. Like he owned this Japanese territory, so now he's building a militia. And that's a good thing for him to do. Like, if I was him, I'd do that too. But to me, that rule is wrong. Like, the Americans are all of a sudden going to become Japanese. You know, like he's been doing that with Russia all game, right? So what I think it should be the rule is that you can build militia, you know, either in your own territories or in minor powers. Like, why would any American become a Japanese militia or a German militia? Or why would any German become an American militia? You know what I mean? Like, that does not make any sense at all that they would do that. Like, I cannot imagine any scenario where you could gather enough citizens in Russia to make even one militia unit, let alone, what does he have there, 20 of them? You know, 20 German militia units out of the people of Russia, the ones that he didn't kill, you know? I don't think so. Because, you know, partisans are one thing, like, that's what partisans were for, that set, right? So that they could pop up anywhere where you've lost a territory. You could find a few citizens. Was
Did
that?
the commander bump up with a carpet bomb?
It depends. Did he come from where there was a commander? That
He's
not using
going
the
into
commander?
where
Canada,
commander
they
is.
didn't push your mark.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So-
Does he get bumped up?
Yes, he does.
So I get 3 shots at 3
Do you
then
want
instead of 3 at 2?
Leave it like
Yeah.
that for now, or do you
Okay.
want to? Do you want to leave it like that for now?
So anyway, like that, to me, that's what a partisan should be for, not what an entire militia unit should be for. But that's just my beef. We're gonna do this fight here when you guys are ready.
I'm ready. My
Sure.
amphibious assault is there.
I'm going to use the
And these are my
option
land
of
attack.
scrambling aircraft.
Okay,
I'm up here
so
as
he's
well.
gonna scramble his aircraft.
And that's scrambled from Lorraine, right?
Bears.
You have a
Munich.
commander.
Yeah, I don't see it on here though.
Those should start at
Five.
5, so they go up to 6.
And this guy should be at 7.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so
Alright.
it's these guys here against those guys over there. So let's go.
Alright, let's see if we can get any hits.
Bombardment shots.
Oh yeah, bombardments. 2
Blacks.
4. Nothing.
Oh,
1 at 3.
lots of 9s.
2 at 2. And I got 3 at 1. I could use those earlier.
Okay.
Not a shot.
I'm
Not
gonna
a
roll
hit.
for my first strike for the artillery.
Do you have any artillery? Any first
I
strike?
have no.
Okay.
No. These were my first 6.
So he missed his first strike.
Beautiful. For both of us.
So you've got 6, 7,
Yeah.
8. Oh, holy shit.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It's beautiful. I missed with
Yeah.
all these
9,
first strikes.
10.
For you, anyway.
You've got 16 at 3.
2, 4, 6. Let's do 8 at a time. 8 and 3.
Oh,
not
come
one hit.
on. We are never going to win this game if you keep doing
No.
that.
2, 6.
We'll be surrendered by noon.
All right, here's the other 8.
What are your other
3.
ones? Oh yeah, okay.
One
One hit.
hit
One
out
hit
of
out of
16.
16 infantry.
Plus the bombardments. Okay, so now you got these.
Did I roll this yet?
No, you didn't.
No, the tanks don't land unless they're coming from the land. Are they coming from the land or
They're coming from the land, yeah.
Okay, alright.
What do you mean?
Well, he thought that these were coming
Yeah,
on
the
boats.
tanks are coming by land, and
Yeah.
these guys are coming by. This cluster in the front is my
Yeah.
amphibious.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds
Everything
good.
else is not.
Yeah, awesome.
So you
Thanks
got
for
3
putting
shots
Yeah.
at 3.
3 at 3. Nothing. And this plane can no longer shoot.
Yeah,
It can't be
he's off,
taken.
So we got what, 4? 4 at 6.
So what's this?
And these have target selection 1 to 3 armor class units. 1, 2,
2 targets.
2 target select.
Alright,
So
That'd
I
be
guess you'd be taking those
tank
yeah,
destroyers, yeah.
tank destroyers off.
that's right.
Not first strike though, right? So,
No,
and they're gonna use 5 fighters here.
yeah, 5 fighters.
That's
Before
7.
you roll the fighters, do my anti-aircraft roll.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, they're
they're
not
all
first
after.
strike, but yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah, you're rolling your turn.
Alright.
5 at 7.
Oh,
1 hit.
1 hit for a fighter?
1 aircraft.
From a fighter?
Yep.
Oh, okay, alright.
What do I do with that? You know, I can't seem to hit anything this roll.
Yeah,
Hopefully you get the same.
okay. Well, here is, so I roll
So I
for my,
got 1 regular hit and 2 targets selected.
in this
That's it.
game, I
Yeah.
can't remember. How does anti-aircraft work?
3 at 3.
3 at 3.
You,
Okay,
you
yours.
can shoot a maximum of 3.
Actually, it's 3 at 4. You got a commander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 3. I gotta land this a little flatter just because
Yeah.
I don't like how they crowd all the way there. 3 at 4. 1 hit.
1 hit.
So that's one of your fighters.
Okay, my other fighter rolling at 7. 2. So that's 2 fighters down.
That's expensive.
Yep.
Alright, 2 tacticals at 6. Miss. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops. 3, 7, 8, 9. Bad for me. I only got 2 hits out of that.
We already counted those other 2 hits.
Oh yeah, so
You
just
got
2
2 more hits.
2.
And then you got your tank destroyers.
Oh yeah, okay, so I had 4 tank destroyers. And 4 tank destroyers rolling at 5 with a
That's 4.
target at
Oh, 4 at 5.
You
Yeah.
got commander.
with a tank selection of 1 to 3. 1.
1 and his target selected.
So that would
Presume
probably
it's
be a
going to be
tank.
a tank destroyer.
Well, yeah.
Right?
So a tank destroyer and 2 other hits along
So-
with 2 fighters.
Taking this and I'm taking this. So 2 tank destroyers and 1 fighter. That's
And
what
Okay.
I'm
I, and I
Yeah.
lost 2 fighters, a tank destroyer, and 2 marines.
Should be. Oh yeah, 2 marines.
Because you target selected.
Yep, yep.
Oh, yeah.
If they are
You
Marines,
got
yeah.
hit by a fighter, but he also hit you once. So you'd like 1 more ground unit.
1 more ground unit.
Yeah, like
So
1 in the early.
one of these was from a
No,
fighter and
2.
then
I got 1 fighter hit and 2 target selects. And
I thought you
I did hit
once
once
back in.
with one of the infantry, but
That's what I mean.
only 1.
That's what I mean. So 1 more
so
hit.
there's 1 more. Okay, you
Yeah,
took
he didn't put
off
dice up there yet.
Alright. I'll take away artillery.
Okay.
Alright, what does he got
So-
left? A whole pile of stuff, but not nearly as much.
You're going again.
Well, of course. Let's hopefully get some better hits. So this guy can't fight anymore, so he's out of it.
Yeah, let's just put him back on Berlin there. Army Berlin.
London.
Well, let's put him in Berlin
Mm-hmm.
with a whole payload.
6.
The man in the high castle is going to become reality soon.
What have I got there? 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 amphibious assaults, and I only got 1 hit out of that. Let's get those out of the way. That way we're not doing them twice. And then I got 6 on the I got 6 on the ground here, so.
3,
Oh, there we go. 4 more hits.
4 it is.
That's nice.
If you would have done this on the first shot,
If I would have done this on the first round, we would
I know
already
you're
be
dicking
done.
around. Drove like
And
500
three-
miles just
and-
to dick around.
And 3 tank destroyers.
Yes.
That's a 6, so that's a hit.
Hit for tank
Oh, right,
destroyer.
right.
And I got 3 fighters.
That's 7.
That's 7. 1 more hit. So
Man,
2, 4, 6,
Yeah.
7 hits.
7 hits, alright.
nothing target selected.
Nothing
No.
target selected. Alright. I've been buying tank destroyers because I've been going off of those charts, but not these ones, right? So that's why Japan and.
Well, these charts?
No, not those charts. Tank destroyer doesn't even show up on
Yeah.
them. But these charts right here that we got printed off. So I've been going off of that and not the battle board. But anyways, here's 2 at 6 for my fighters. 1 hit. Then I have 2 target selections. 1, nope, that's a miss. And then I have that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Minimal. 3, 4. 4.
Four
And
hits.
then I have the anti-aircraft. What does it do?
No, anti-aircraft shot the first round.
Alright. I will just plant it back here just for now then.
Well, you can take him as a casualty.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take him as a casualty then.
Yeah, unless you want to lose somebody else that can shoot.
So
Yeah.
you have
So
2,
you have-
4, 6, 7.
You got 7 hits and I got 4.
Yeah.
So
Four
I have
casualties.
One,
to
two,
casualties over here.
4,
I gotta
5,
lose them from up front here. So I'm just gonna
6. Let's do this.
kick this off. And
Yep.
So how many
So
dudes
you
you got
got
left?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I have 10 dudes.
You wanna.
Okay. I'm going to retreat my aircraft at this point. And concede that battle. Where goes, here goes.
10 infantry. Yeah, that's much better. 1, 2. I'm at 3, right?
Right. And that's all you had was 2?
Just got 2 hits here.
I've got.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see those guys. You got
Yeah.
4, okay.
Alright, and we got 3 tank destroyers. That's 6.
There's
2
2
more
There you
hits.
go. Now
That's
you're
4
up.
hits.
I'm up. Okay.
No, you got 1 more, sorry.
Oh,
3, 4,
and
5.
3 fighters at 7. Hopefully I don't get 1 here.
Yeah.
2 more hits, so I got 6 if you need it.
Here's 5 and 5. 2 hits. That'll do. Don't do.
Alright,
There they are.
so I'm just gonna ship that out here.
For your Marines, what are you using for Marines? I'm curious. I didn't see any white tokens underneath. Do you have
Oh, I got Royal Marines tokens.
Royal Marines, okay,
Yeah.
okay, alright.
Specialty British ones.
Right.
Are
I
they,
know, I was trying to
are they
find 'em.
fancy in any shape or form? Or are they just Marines?
The
I got
fancy,
a
No, they're just
it's a
regular,
fancy
yeah.
chip.
Just a fancy chip.
Roll
is
for
what they're-
retreat.
For what?
The commander.
retreat.
Oh, Commander. Yeah.
Yeah, and I come out to here.
So,
This is all I got left.
yeah.
Oh, and I still got the Queen's Own from where's it?
Did you win the Battle of Belgium?
Yes, he did.
You did, pretty handily.
And what's
British.
what's it worth before you put it on?
$2
your
bucks. So
ship?
Britain
Alright,
goes
so
up
let's throw this
2,
over here.
and Germany goes down 2. So let's throw that down. And let's make build. This is the spin here.
That'll
You're
show.
probably gonna just nail me back.
I might.
There you go.
No, and this fancy Canadian Queen's Own.
These guys are probably on here, right? And this guy is probably back on that ship over there.
Yep.
Over there. Okay.
And this commander is on the ground because he came with them.
There's.
So, you got any other attacks on this side of the bar? Oh, you got your convoy up
I
there.
got the convoy up there.
So I have something on escort duty, so it lets me do a free attack against you. So 1 at 4 and 1 at 1. Right, for seaplane?
You still get the convoy.
Alright.
But I do get a free.
Had I known that,
roll
I'll
at
convoy there then.
I got a battleship on this side, so that's 1 at 6.
That's okay. 1 at 6.
So you can't move them now. You started your combat.
Alright. Whatever. I just thought that you couldn't pair anything with a super sub.
On
That's why I
defense
wondered.
against super subs, I don't know. Maybe
You
we're
can't-
taking a look at.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
He can go in there with his destroyer on escort
And
duty.
be
like
on
he has.
escort duty and like this, yeah. But he can't attack me and pair a destroyer.
Right. Okay.
Yep, no worries. Now what are we doing here? One,
I think if I
You're plus
succeed, you
4.
don't get to raid or not.
I raid, he raid. we
No,
raid.
you raid and then you shoot.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good.
At least that's the way it was before.
4 plus 4, so that's 8.
Well, then let's just take a look at it just to make sure. So we're
Yeah.
not starting off with.
Well, you might be killing my sub, right?
Well, I
That's
know,
the
I
whole
know.
point of the escort being
Yeah,
the same
but it's
zone.
worthwhile taking a look.
And I
at
think you get a +1 on
Yeah, but
your raider
you would think that the
modifier.
sub would shoot him before you seen him.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a sub, and then they go and
Well,
shoot
that's
him,
fair
right?
too. Yeah, that's true.
Right? Because there is no plane. Well, there's that seaplane, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think the sub gets a first shot though. Myself, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
find out.
I think you guys are right. Look, 1, 2, and 3. So it's at table 9.7. Players with aircraft on cap or escorts make defense rolls. 1 roll for each ship designated as an escort. 1 roll for each aircraft.
Yep.
Each attacking submarine is attacked at 1 by inherent defense of the convoy if defending nation has advanced anti-submarine warfare.
Yep.
So what was it?
9
He,
point.
he gets to roll it first.
For the convoy attack, I don't know if
Yeah,
he
because
gets.
I'm attacking the
That's what we're
convoy.
doing.
That's
Yeah.
what initiates the attack, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if he gets to fire back at my fleet though because.
No, no,
he's-
Oh, no, he doesn't.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't fire at the fleet. I just fire at the
Yep.
convoys.
Yep. All right. So.
You get a free shot at me without a defensive.
Yeah.
Without me shooting at you.
You said
I
how much
choose
did you
to
roll?
shoot.
8.
He
I
rolled
rolled
it.
a
Yeah.
4
I don't think
plus
there's
4.
any way of getting it.
But do you
Yeah,
lose all 3?
3, 4,
I
5.
use the 3 bucks,
Yeah,
right?
okay. All right. So here's 1 at 1, and 1 at 4. Hit.
There we go. The next sub is done.
Oh, he got to have more than his weight in gold out of those guys. What did you?
Yeah, 1 of 4 and a 1 of, yeah.
3, 3, 3, 9.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I know subs are wonderful to have in impossible to defend against unless
Yeah.
you're in a situation like that where I didn't move.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to Australia.
All right. Oh yeah, I gotta do more rolls here. So, screening force. Oh no, we're attacking that sub. We're attacking, or sorry, the sub's attacking that destroyer and this destroyer.
Might as well do those first.
Might as well do the little ones first, right? I got 1 of 3, you got 1 of 4 here.
Sure. Yep.
Miss.
Hit.
Done.
The other one,
And the one by Sarawak there. 8.
Miss.
Hit.
Hit.
Alright, we're both done.
oh, we got one destroyer out anyway.
Yep.
Okay, so now you got 2 battles left.
Yes, I gotta do the sea battle first for the
Alright.
screening force. So
So who's screening? Sorry, you designated
this is
Marty?
screen,
Okay, great.
this is land.
Fantastic.
So we're gonna do, what do we got there? 3 destroyers and 2 cruisers. So
Sounds
4s and 6s.
Okay.
And
One
I
hit.
got 1 hit.
And I got 2 at 4. 1 hit.
Alright, there's a destroyer.
Down to 1.
So 2 destroyers, 2 cruisers,
There it is.
and there you go.
1 miss.
Alright. And now for the bombardment of 1 at 4 and 1 at 2. I'll just do the yellow for 2 and green for, or blue for 2.
Sounds good.
And I got 1 hit.
1 hit. All right.
So
I'll just take
Doesn't
We'll
really
do
matter.
it with that afterwards. Yeah.
so there's only 1 guy there.
Yep.
Easy enough. Now I got 2 Marines attacking at in a mountain at 1.
You can do it.
Nope.
1 at 4. Miss.
Nope.
1 at 4. Miss. This could be like Hong Kong all over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Miss.
1 at it.
Oh,
Alright, so now I'm down to 1.
Well, get a 1.
Nope.
1 at 4. Hit.
Alright. It was an attempt. So one of these guys is done. I assume it's not the Marine. The cheaper. And there we go. There's my fleet.
Well, that's 1 dead fleet soon.
Well, maybe it takes some ships with it.
Yeah, that's what
Or
we're hoping.
maybe it's just useless to them, so they ignore it.
Well, I think they're going for it. I would. So is that it? Nope. You
Nope,
got
I
this
got this one up here now. So 2 fighters at 6.
Mhm.
2 hits.
2 hits. All right.
And the tank gets 6 as well. Another hit, that's 3.
So that's all you need.
Well, now you're wasting them.
So
Yeah,
1 at 2.
couldn't do that in round 1. And
Hit for
That's
the militia, and then 2 at 4. Miss.
Yeah, Australian
So one-
Japanese militia. Who would have thunk it?
Ah, come on, this.
They
People
call
of
it
any
down
color
there.
are worth.
Exactly.
Japanese sympathizers
Oops, right.
in Australia.
Maybe
I
they
was
don't
rolling
think
away
they're
on you.
They wanted to join the co-prosperity sphere. With a name like that, who wouldn't want to join?
These guys gotta fly back here to land. Which is why we bought a militia. Not much. And a couple of infantry. We're done on this side. Now I gotta do this, but it's just not combats.
Okay.
Okay. So, let's turn this thing off. I got a bunch of stuff I want to do now. Okay, so we just finished 1943. July of 1943 is in the books. And some pretty big swings in this game. Japan still owns the Pacific for sure. Big time. The Americans at least gained the lower 48 back. There was a tough fight up here in the Pacific Northwest, and they managed to gain that back. But Japan still has Alaska and Hawaii and the Philippines, and they staved off the British down here in the Anzac in what is that, New Zealand. So that's still a thing. And what else is going on?
Not too much.
Oh yeah, look what happened up in Germany up there. France. Usually it's Germany pushing their way into France. French, yeah, I stewed all like for 2 days whether or not to jump over the Maginot Line. I just absolutely throttled him in Bavaria. Like he rolled terrible, and that's what I was saying at the end of my last video when I was in here by myself. I was saying that we needed something good to happen like that. in order for us to have any chance at all of winning. I still think we're going to lose this game. Jinx has played an awesome game, so I still think we're going to lose, but that has given us, some kind of hope. Like we're right on Berlin's doorstep right now. I would imagine it's the German turn right now. I would imagine he's going to go for Bavaria. But you see there with Britain has taken back what is that? Belgium, and France has taken Bavaria. So we're actually pushed in on him now. He's backed up to Berlin and to West Germany, and then the Americans have made their way across the water here. So this fleet here is these guys down here, and they actually beat these guys in Spain quite handily. They didn't roll very well. It was mostly militia, so the Americans were able to make a landing on Leon Castile. They wanted a port, and that's a major shipyard. Although they're not going to be able to build anything there because they're not connected to a factory. But at least the fact that it's a major shipyard means that they can go 3 spaces from there, right? So that's going to help them out there. I needed a port. And before, if you played this game before and you have your map at home, you're thinking, like the Azores is here, and that was always a place that the Americans was kind of a way station for them. They built a base on there, and that would help them out in getting across the Atlantic and back. Well, now look where the Azores is. It's way down here. That's completely useless for the Americans unless they were gonna. Their plan was the Mediterranean, So that kind of screwed the Americans. So I had to find something. It was either going to be Portugal or Leon Castile, and so we chose Leon Castile there to be the halfway mark. So then there's 4 more transports back there. Luckily, they only lost 1 ground unit here, so they can go forward with those. I was thinking I was barely going to take that out and take the port, and but this kind of sets me a turn ahead of where I thought I was going to be, because those guys can move forward instead of just taking the place. They've taken it and now they can leave, right? There are no more Germans on the Iberian Peninsula, no more German roundels or anything, so that's good. The Germans can't mount any sort of defense there or any comeback at that. So what else have we got going on? The Germans and the British are squaring off in the Middle East. They're battling over the oil in there, and they both built up pretty good, but you gotta remember they're fighting in sand too, right? So vehicles can break down and stuff, and mountains and sand, there's no blitzing, there's no going 2 spaces, so that's going to be an interesting fight in there. The Italians own the Mediterranean, and it doesn't look like that's going to change at all. The only difference, or the only thing that's not Italian in there, is this French sub. Don't those subs suck? Man, you can hardly get rid of those.
Yeah.
The table's upturned.
That's right. At least you only pick off 1 each turn, so it's not that bad.
Yeah. So there's only 2 German subs there's 3 German subs in the Atlantic, which is, for us, hardly any. We're used to dealing with 5 to 10, and it's been the bane of our existence. When I did take out Bavaria there, I was able to take out the 1 rocket factory, rocket launcher. So that was a bit of a reprieve for both the British and the French. And not much has happened up here. The French, the Russians, they're popping up wherever they can with the militia on this side. And over here, they're still, the Japanese are still battling it out with them. The Russians still have not lost their second capital. You can see it, it's right there where I don't know how they were able to get St. Basil's Cathedral over there, but they've got it over there somehow in Siberia. And then also these guys, both the communists and the KMT are both hanging on. This factory is actually right here. And this guy over here, how many times have you attacked Hong Kong? Twice he's attacked Hong Kong, and twice this guy here. Look at this guy. Look at how tough he is. He's, go ahead, make my day. He's just ready for anything, that guy. He's protecting that airbase for all it's worth, right?
That is the best.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the way it looks here, heading into 1944.
Battle here we got going on.
Okay. French Foreign Legion. Here we go. French Foreign Legion is going after Tripoli. Yeah, this guy, he's a militia. Where'd that commander come from? Get out of here. This is all too formal. Missed.
Okay, I'm rolling a 3, miss.
We're both rolling 3s. Missed.
Miss, another 8.
Miss.
Miss.
Okay, that's 17
7.
9s in a row. Time to change dice. 5.
Hit.
8.
8.
Okay, let's try the red one. Oh, it was a 3 for a second there.
Hit.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I figured this guy was gonna die anyway,
Yeah, well, you
so
might have.
might as well go down fighting.
That's right, yeah.
He took a lot of shots. He needs some target practice.
Yeah, that's right.
And I already did this before when you were here,
Yeah,
right?
you did,
yeah,
you did.
and I took your dollar off for you.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so it's the Italians' turn, and we didn't get too aggressive as the Allies this turn. We kind of held back. We looked at it, and there were some pretty dicey attacks. Like we could have went for it, but we thought, I don't know. I don't remember before last time I made a video if I showed what had happened with the Americans here. Yeah, I think I did show. So the Americans took this. They only lost 1 ground troop. Yeah, they got pretty lucky there. And there's no Germans on the Iberian Peninsula. The Russians did come out here and take Portugal, and we weren't sure about the rules because in the new rule set, there's a rule that says that if Russia takes a territory that's not connected to its home country, then the Allies can declare war on Russia. But we weren't sure if that included Spain, because Spain, I mean, they didn't really have a choice. They just, the war ended and they became Russians, right? However, Panzer King, he's decided to bow out of the game now. But the last thing he did was he wanted to take a country. He was all excited about it, and so he took Portugal. So the Comintern has definitely taken a country that is not connected to the home country. So that means if the Allies wish, between now and the end of the game, they can declare war on the Comintern, and that's a big deal. When you're looking for points, right? For the end of the game. So there's that. The Americans here, they're loading up, and the Canadians, they put a couple of units here with a transport. What did they do with their transport? Oh, the transport's sitting over there. That's right. That Navy's over there. Over in the Middle East, they're still squaring off. Eventually, those guys are going to have to fight. They're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. At some point, somebody's going to pull the trigger. We'll see. Quite the Mexican standoff over here. The boats that the British brought from the Mediterranean to add to the Anzac Navy, they were brought over here for one reason, and that was to engage the Japanese fleet and to try to take a few boats off them. Right. The only thing that they did was damage 2 battleships. Right, Carcass just had a really bad 1 turn of rolling, and of course when you're rolling in with all these big high value units, like they were able to hit on the first turn, and Rank Carcass didn't hit on the first turn. You really want to hit on the first turn in a lot of these battles, right? So you don't give the guy a second chance. Anyway, so he hit and Rank didn't, and so the only thing he's got left is these two escort carriers, and the 2 planes. We decided that they were probably better off in the capital than they were here, because these guys' turn is over. Japan's going to have a turn before they are. So that will probably be it for the Allied fleet in the Pacific. We'll see. Let's look around at what else they got for fleet. So here's a fleet marker here, and their fleet there is no capital ships in this one, just a lot of small ships. There's the ships that are on the build chart there. The Americans haven't moved any over for a couple of turns because they did not get much money. The Japanese had taken this, so that took their 12 bonus. Plus they've got Hawaii, Alaska, and the Philippines, the Japanese do. So that's limited the Americans' cash, and so, you know, like they wanted to assault Germany, they needed to build an assault force over there. They couldn't afford to advance these. They did place a battle cruiser on the last turn on the build chart, so all three of those things can start moving along. The Americans got more money this time because they were able to grab their bonus. They do have the lower 48 back. Not much is happening over there, like I can't tell. I just don't even pay much attention anymore. There's, you know, this guy attacks and that guy attacks, and there's not many left. I don't think there's any Russians on this side over here. And it sure looks weird to have not just France is still in the game, but these three territories here not be aligned. Nobody's attacked them because, of course, the Allies still get a penalty for attacking any neutral country, and the Germans haven't been able to align them because Paris hasn't fallen. That's the only thing that aligns those things, is when Paris has fallen. So all of Southern Europe has somehow managed to escape World War II. All of these countries down here, not one of them has participated in World War II whatsoever. And the same up there with Sweden, they haven't participated, and nothing has happened in South America. It's been a really, really eventful game, but curiously, those places have done nothing. It's just weird. It feels weird. And so you're gonna try and attack my sub?
No, I'm not. No.
I was gonna say, you know that doesn't work, right?
Doesn't work. That's right.
Anyway, I'll come back in a while. All right then, we have come to the end of July 1944. We came to the beginning of January of 1945, and we all decided, the three of us that are left, that we're just going to end the game here. And one of the good things about doing that is kind of like doing a variable end, where none of us really knew ahead of time that was going to happen. So we didn't have a chance to, you know, send these guys this way, or, you know, like do some kind of crazy shit at the end of the game to get a point or something like that. And, you know, like we could play, we were hoping to get a variable end in, but when you're playing 3 days in a row there, your brain starts getting mushy. It takes you a long time to take your turn because, you know, you're counting stuff up, and then what was I doing? You know, you have to recount it again, and, you know, that's just the way it goes, right? So we decided to end it here, and the reason we decided to end it here was, one, because we could eliminate the gaminess of doing that. Instead of, this is the point where on the last two turns you're going to start doing crazy shit that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And the other one was, we looked at it and we thought, you know what, there's nothing else that could happen here. The Allies are not going to have enough time to take Berlin, for instance, and they did a really good job. Like this has got to go down in history as the first time that France never once lost a piece of their home country. First that I've ever heard of in any kind of World War II game. So that is something on it, and it's not because they played a fantastic game. It's, you know, it was the choice that the German player made to go after Russia. But anyway, we couldn't take him there. He wasn't going to take any capitals off us. We probably weren't going to get Rome. That would have probably been the one that was the most in doubt. There was no other capitals, put it that way, no other capitals that were going to fall. The Americans had a good transport truck set up. FEC was not going to fall. The only other one that was in a bit of jeopardy, and you can see there's some Japanese on here, but that's only actually 4 dudes on there. He's got that there because it used to be a lot fuller, right? But there was stuff down here, and they had a fight and everything. So there are a couple of Japanese on the island of Australia right now, but they weren't going to be able to get there like in 2 turns. There was no way, because they didn't have anybody down close to them, right? Like they would have had to go up and get a couple of guys and come back, and there just wasn't going to be enough time to take out Australia. The Americans, they weren't going to have enough time to build a navy and come across. The Japanese did a really good job there. The Russians could have been drained completely, but even then, I mean, what difference was that going to make, right? Nothing. So nothing was going to change in this game if we would have played for another 4 hours and only taken 2 more turns. And so we just said, let's just call it now. We'll go out and have a nice dinner, and then Jinx could get an early start on his drive back home tonight. He's got to work in the morning. And so, I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are on the game, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on the game. I think I'm going to make a separate video on that because I'd like to do a more in-depth breakdown on it. And I don't know if it's going to be tonight or it might be Rank Carcass and his wife and I are going to go out to my cabin at the lake in the morning. So it might be, I've got the whole week off, it might be when I come back to town. But let's just take you out of suspenders here and show you the score. This is the Allies, 4. The common turn 3, and the big winner is the Axis at 12. So Jinx kicked the crap out of us. My phone's going off. That's probably Panzer King. Anyway, I'm gonna pass this over to Jinx there, so he can give his take on the game and tell you how he did it, and just take as long as you want.
All right. Okay.
It's good if you just set it down and
Sure,
then talk
yeah,
for a
that's a good
while,
idea.
and then set it down over here and talk for a
That's
while.
a good idea. Okay.
Then people aren't going, whoa.
Sure. Yeah, good idea. All right. Well, I set out with this game. I didn't pick on Panzer King or anybody like that. I just wanted to try something a little different than the usual standard thing, and I wanted to show these guys some of the other ways that people can play this game too. Because unlike Global War 1940, it's very set and kind of railroaded, and that's one of the good things about this game is you can take it any which way you want. So I went out starting with the idea of if I keep the Balkans all neutral, then they're never going to invade me from the south. If I keep Italy neutral, then the soft underbelly is never exposed, and the only place they can ever hit me is like a World War I style battle. And it ended up being that way for the longest time in the game. Like I never went across the Maginot. It's a little bit too intimidating, and they did manage to take Bavaria, which I was pretty impressed that they managed to do that. I was, a huge feather in their cap for that, because they came across, they ripped through my Siegfried line there, and they did a lot of damage, but I managed to take it back the next turn and managed to take out some of their better quality units in the process, and that slowed them down a little bit. But these rockets really came into play quite a bit. We bought them for $8, and they have range of 3 now. So each time I could have a free shot at some of their factories out there. I'm not sure if we're doing this 100% accurately. The words were a little bit fake.
They're supposed to be $6 for one thing. We found
$6,
out later.
Yeah. But even so, they're not bad. And once I had that tech, I was starting to make some dents in some of that French push that they're going there. But they also managed to take northern Italy, which again was a big surprise too. I didn't expect that at all. And the Italians rolled quite poorly, and I was flummoxed for a little while. And the only way I was able to hold off the French from going into Rome is I had to send a whole bunch of aircraft to fly down there, and I had to use my transports to go pick up random troops from Turkey and fly them back, and all this other nonsense too. The Balkan nations all remained peaceful throughout the whole war. Bulgaria, Hungary, Romania, they just stayed out of it. And I'm not sure if they're supposed to align when Russia and Germany are at war, but I think, judging by what happened this time, I think it's good that they didn't, because I think that would have made Germany a little bit too powerful, especially on the defensive footing over.
Are you talking about these white ones here?
Yeah, these.
Yeah,
white
no,
ones
they're
are-
only supposed to align if Paris falls.
Yeah. So I think it's good that they didn't. And I was thinking about that before and talking to Rank Carcass about it before, and so it's good that they didn't. It would have unbalanced the game too much. And that's the nature of this game too. There's a lot of little things that I don't really want to unbalance it too much, but I want to explore and see what I can do within the realms of possibility. So that's kind of my.
Is there any of the new rules that you liked?
I like the new rules quite a bit. I think some of the ship stuff is making more sense now, because there's like 8 different naval types of bases and things, but it's coming together a little bit more now, and it makes some more sense. So I like it. It works pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the addition of some of the new units. The Gurkhas were kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The jungle terrain, and the desert. That like it just added a little bit more dynamic to the game than it was before. where your vehicle class units and your armor class units could break down if you rolled at 11 or 12. And some of the new naval stuff, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think one of my favorite new rules was the one where you could research tech to the second stage before 1939, because that jump started the whole tech thing going, right?
Yeah. I know some people, what they do with the tech chart is if you miss a roll, like they don't start till the usual, until you're supposed to, I think. Was that optional rule that we did to the second stage, or is that something
No, that was
you guys...
that was a new rule.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
I don't know. It could have been optional. I just say, hey, this looks good. Let's do it.
Yeah.
It might be. It just I know it was a new rule.
Okay. But I know some people do it that if you miss the roll, then the next time you get 2 dice to roll, and if you happen to miss that one, then you get next time another dice added to your stack. So eventually you get it. It takes you a few tries, but that's if you go for the 1939 start for tech. So Japan, I actually was thinking about not doing too much with China, but I'm glad I did, because I would have been bored otherwise with the Japanese. I thought I'd just go after Russia, but yeah, it was good. I needed that little extra income, and I think that would have been a mistake to stay out of the war.
One of the things that he did that was that worked out really well for him was he never went after the Dutch East Indies, and so that did 2 things. One thing that it did was that it kept the income out of the British hands. Like that would have been something that we could have done is to go back and get that income and to use that income. And the other thing was that Belgium just fell not too long ago. With Belgium and Netherlands in the way, that shielded Germany on the Western Front as well, because it's a huge penalty for the Allies to attack a neutral nation, right? And so that worked out well for him too, not attacking the Dutch East Indies. Like you look at it, they're all still orange, even though these are orange too. But I mean, trust me, these guys are all Dutch units in here, and that actually worked out really well.
One of the things that I think could be exploitable in this game, perhaps, is if Russia declares war on places like Denmark, and then it becomes Axis. I think Sweden goes too if Denmark is declared war on, but then it becomes Axis, and then the Allies don't have to actually pay to invade Denmark. They get it for free. It could be kind of exploitable.
Yeah. In fact, we did do that here. Let me just take this camera here. We actually exploited that here, where we had Panzer King come down here with 1 infantry, and so that turned these into German. And so then that gave these guys and this into German as well, because if you get these ones, then you get this one. So that gave us something to go after. We were able to take out some neutral countries from Germany. Like we were ready to pounce on them. We had all our guys, our transports, whatever we needed in place to take them out. We thought about doing it a turn earlier. Said no, just wait, and we'll do it when we're ready. Then we all got into position.
Yeah,
and
that
then,
way Germany.
And then he dropped the 1 Russian guy here,
Yeah.
and then we went in and took the rest. Right. So like he was saying, that's something that you could do to game that a bit. Let's see what Ray Karkas has to say about the whole affair here.
Oh, it was a interesting game. Bizarre that I didn't get attacked in the Far East Command at all. And down here, I was okay until the very end.
Yeah.
But yeah, the new rules, the convoy rules, was just kicking my butt in the Atlantic.
Yeah, they're still hard, man.
The subs are impossible to kill unless they attack you.
Yeah.
Well, what I found was really difficult with like I thought, and I've been talking about this on my videos lately, that with the addition of Canada and with the addition of the seaplanes, that was going to balance out the convoy again. But the way Jinx played it was he attacked in wolf packs, so he would have anywhere from 3 to 5 subs, either sitting together or near each other, so that they could hit the same thing. And so like in order to try to cover all your convoy zones, like typically you would put
2 or 3 cruisers that way.
Yeah, typically you would spread out. You would have a destroyer and an escort carrier with a plane on it, to try and as well as destroyers and everything. But he would look for the highest value thing, and that was nothing for 5 subs to go and take out
One cruiser.
an escort carrier, a plane, and especially in open water because the plane would die, right? So he just why convoy for money when you can take off ships that were
Yeah, you
worth a
took
lot
more
more.
money out of ships than you did out
Yeah,
of convoys.
Yeah. So to me, that seems like that convoying rules need a little bit more work there. When you exploit it like that, and I don't mean exploit it. I mean that was the way to do it. It's just
Yeah,
One of the other rules that I exploit, say, or take advantage of is militia. And I know a lot of people say militia is useless, and sometimes they prove useless. Like in Spain, I just got all the militia I stacked. I bet would it be like 8 over there. So that's $16 worth of militia sitting there. Got wiped out, and I only ever did 1 kill, and that was with my infantry that was there as well.
Yeah.
And so I use them almost everywhere. Like I bring my own militia tokens because I know I use a lot of them more than other people. And almost every single territory, well, at least for Japan, they basically put a militia, plunk one down wherever they go. And the Italians were doing the same thing. And I don't know if that's exploitable. And one of the things that Brian was mentioning too is even in the USA, like, should they be building a militia, or maybe they should? If they should, maybe they should cost more or something like that.
I
Right?
don't know. It just seems kind of crazy to me that
that made German militia built in
Russia,
in
yeah.
Russia.
Like
when Russia hasn't surrendered
he
yet.
literally built probably somewhere around, come and gone. Like you see a bunch of them now, but they've come and gone, right? They've been killed and stuff. He probably built around 40 or 50 militia in Russia. Where are you going to find enough Russians that are going to want to be German militia? Because that's what militia are. They weren't going to move, right? They had to be citizens that you haven't killed yet. That rise up and say, I want to be a Nazi, And okay, so let's say you can find Russians that want to do that. Okay, so where are you going to find Americans that want to become Japanese all of a sudden? You know what I mean? Like, to me, that just seems kind of weird. I think that what you could do is say, okay, like the neutral nations, like here, I'll just show you, here's some here, because they haven't been turned yet. But yeah, be able to put militia in neutral nations, like up here in Poland or something that he's taken out. Any neutral nation that you've taken out, any minor power, fine. But the major powers, like putting them in the States if you're Japanese, or anybody for that matter, or in Russia or Germany. Like Germany, are they really going to turn?
I could see it if
American?
Germany has surrendered, but until Germany surrendered, I don't think anybody else could build a militia in Germany.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point about the militias, though. It's kind of weird how you can build Japanese militia in the United States. It's
I mean, hey, but we didn't have the opportunity to exploit it ourselves because we didn't know anybody.
No. All I know is I'm going to need a lot more militia chips.
The Russians did, like, even though they got wiped out quite quickly, they were quite, like, even now, they could be a horrible time to get rid of the rest of them, because even though I have all their valuable territory around Moscow and Stalingrad, they could still produce a militia anywhere on any of these empty territories and slowly creep in. And the second they recapture any one of their territories, with the elite of the Reich, I guess that's an expansion, I suppose.
Yeah.
But with the elite of the Reich, that militia or whatever unit they
Elite of
use
the
to
Soviet
capture-
Union.
Yeah, Soviet. Yeah. So they just pick up and then they become, a +1 to attack and defense, and so then they get pretty good. And the fact that they can just spawn in the middle of the woods that you left somewhere, that would have been quite challenging. That would have been really difficult. Yeah. That's the biggest problem I had with Japanese against them as well. Just non-stop menace is what they were.
Yeah.
They were played really well.
Yeah.
Is there any of the new rules that you like more than the other ones? Is that right?
I do like the. Give me a second here because I lost my train of thought here. But I kind of like the convoy because it was too far. Like in this game, I mostly played with the convoys, right? The old convoy was too far one way.
Yeah.
I think it almost went a little bit too far the other way.
Yeah.
We could just bump it just a tiny bit down,
Yeah.
and then it would be perfect. Like it's very close.
Well, I just to me the whole.
And,
the whole here, let's just move this over here where, like, and now also you're convoying, like you see all these Italian ships out here. He's convoying with all the ships now, not just the subs, right? But for me, what I find extremely difficult to believe is that subs are this difficult to kill. Like they're almost impossible in this game to kill. Really, the only way we ever killed them was when they attacked us, and we got to defend ourselves. And oh yeah, we got 2 subs down, even though we lost ships. You know,
Yeah, I lost
and
the
it
cruiser, but at least they killed the sub.
yeah, you know, because there was no other way to get him out of the game, right? And so to me, it seems like a sub is overpowered. And I understand, right, like that subs were hard to kill and hard to find and everything. But that was early in the war. When later in the war, like they didn't need planes to find them. Like they started developing technology. I mean, that's destroyers and corvettes, and like they had their own technology to find subs. But in this game, there's no way to do that. So like, you know, if they wanted to start out and the subs were going hog wild until 1942 or some arbitrary date, and then all of a sudden people got to shoot back or something, to me that would make sense. You know what I mean? And maybe that's why you're supposed to do the anti-submarine technology. You're supposed to develop that. You know,
I couldn't afford to. I lost too much money to subs.
Yeah, there's that, right? So to me, it should at some point in time make it a little bit easier to kill subs.
Yeah.
But they were almost impossible in this game to kill, right?
My take on the subs from this side of things was anytime you had escorts with aircraft, it was like a wall that you can't get past. You have to first break into that wall before you can get through.
Yeah, it would stop you, right?
Yeah, it would stop me, and so I found that quite hindering. And I have to come here with my subs and then wait for somebody to get out of the way, or attack them and then get through. But even in that attack, it could be attacked back with a destroyer and an aircraft. But I wonder if instead it might be better to limit where they can convoy, because the second you get through here, you can go all over the rest of the world and just keep running away from their aircraft. So I wonder if it's better that subs could only raid within a range of any base, like any naval base that is friendly and in their control, like say 1 movement range, so 4. So right now they could go up to here, up until they, like from here in the North Atlantic and the mid to North Atlantic, up until they take Spain or France, and then that extends their range into the South Atlantic for the Germans, right?
Yeah, they'd have
That's
to build a
that's not
submarine
bad
base.
idea
Yeah.
there.
Like if they would have had to build a submarine base,
Yeah.
if they wanted to come down here, you know, have to build a submarine base somewhere, right?
Because all otherwise you do is just run
Because
away.
how do you resupply
Yeah,
with
yeah.
gas and everything?
Yeah.
Do you just pull into the gas station?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just a Nazi sub. Can you fill us up and
Yeah.
give us some cheese?
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Yeah, maybe that'd be an idea where you could only get so far away,
Yeah.
and then if you want to get further,
Yeah.
then
Because
do
if the
something,
aircraft
right?
have to chase after you each and every time. it's
Yeah,
never-
I built light carriers to chase you, and you just pounce on the carrier with
Yeah.
a wolf
Some
pack
kind of
and
supply,
eliminate it.
Yeah.
some kind of supply line they'd
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
And that actually
Yeah.
makes sub bases useful again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or not.
But even if it wasn't a base, but somehow,
Yeah.
like if you're out of supply,
Sure.
like there's other games and other
like a
rules
certain
where,
range, like a range of
like a city
yeah.
that's surrounded is
Yeah,
out of supply.
exactly, yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
some way of getting the subs out of supply, because really he's right though. I mean, how could you start up in the Baltics up there, come all the way down here, still have a bunch of gas and food and everything? Like, who's giving you that?
Yeah.
These people don't like Nazis down here, and yet they're still eating and getting fat, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I like the desert rules. They worked quite well.
Yeah.
I like them
I think-
because they didn't modify the
No,
attack and
no,
defense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they just slowed movement.
Yeah.
That made it much simpler.
We didn't see
easier.
much jungles and things, but that
No.
would have been interesting.
But
No.
we did see Gurkhas though.
We did see good.
We got
Well,
Gurkhas in
the reason we
jungle.
didn't see jungles is because like this is where the fight in the jungle is going to be, is right here, right?
Yeah.
And so the Japanese did not have any interest in the FEC whatsoever. He was very focused on the Americans and the Russians and the
Australians at the end.
the Chinese,
Yeah.
and then he turned his attention, like he probably could pick one or the other, but that was just recently. Like he did really good job of focusing his Cobra Kai punch one way.
Yeah, and he's
Make it
and he
powerful,
was
as my
conservative
buddy
enough
Sarah
to
would
not
say.
give the Americans any income increases.
Yep.
None.
Yeah,
Except
and
for the-
that's another hard thing that
Yeah.
I wish they would do something about. Is,
Yeah, I agree.
is
Here-
starting in 42.
Yeah.
have
The,
two
the
guys
only
or
reason
something, right?
America got involved is because you were willing to
Yeah.
attack them early.
Yeah. But here's the thought. Well, I guess maybe it's not the time, but you know how Italy can stay out of the war?
Yeah.
So the reason, like Mussolini was like, Paris is going to fall. There's a quote from him. We just need a couple thousand casualties to have a seat at the victory table. What about if Paris falls and Italy does not join the war? Then each turn its peacetime income goes down by like $2.
Italy.
So yeah, so it's making less and
Kind
less
of
each
forces
turn.
you to get involved.
Yeah. So that's the Italians.
Because eventually it'll be outproduced and then it'll be insignificant, right? So
Well, I just think the Italians have got to enter, like,
They
they
gotta-
could theoretically stay out of the war right up until, say, July 1944, and then run out and grab a couple of territories and get a few points, you know?
Yeah.
And nobody can touch them, and that's, just come on, you know?
Yeah.
Or just wait for 3 days, and then,
yeah.
okay, now that
Yeah.
that guy
Last
split
turn
his
of the
navy
game,
up.
yeah, the guy
So
woke
then
up.
you go jump on his navy, right? Yeah, that's, yeah. But the Americans, though, to me, the difficulty is that it's not an arbitrary thing when they go to war, like they did in, it would have been the end of 1941. So basically, by the time they mobilized, it would have been early 1942, right? But yet the war is an arbitrary date in this game, you know, unless you're playing variable rules. But the war ends at a certain period of time, but the Americans don't start at a certain period of time. So when you're keeping them out of it, didn't you have a game on YouTube there, Ray, where they didn't start the game until 1944?
Yeah. The last turn.
Because
of
they
40,
just kept
the
having
last turn of
crappy
43.
rolls.
At the end of it, they got their money.
Yeah,
But 44 was the first turn that they could start at war and actually do combat moves. It was insane.
yeah. But anyway, that makes it difficult when you do that. So anyway, but yeah, what a great game though! Like just the twists and turns in it. If you ever wanted to see a game where Paris didn't surrender, you know, this would have been the one. Nobody ever stepped on the French home country there. Not one step onto it. And in fact, the French stepped into German home country. What is Munich on your map and what is Bavaria on this map? The French actually went in there and they had a fortification there and they had a ton of shit in there. And the French just busted right through it and landed there. And then they still had quite a bit of stuff left. But like Germany had a lot of stuff in behind that, right, in all their territories. And they were able to take it back right away. But still, I mean, that's the that's the only time one or the other busted through that line. So really interesting that way. Interesting playing the convoy and rules. We tried a lot of variable rules. One or two of them I didn't like. Like we tried I know Jinx really likes it, but I don't like it, is the land scrambling. So you're aware of the scrambling when you're at an air base, you could scramble out into the water, right? Like if you're at this air base, you could scramble into this water. Well, in the rules that we played, so like when I wanted to attack Bavaria here to begin with, I couldn't do it because he had fighters up here in this air base and he could scramble down here. So those three fighters were the difference between me attacking or not. And when I finally did break through the Siegfried line here was when Rank Carcass attacked him first in this spot here and took his fighters out because Rank had a bunch of fighters and he got that air superiority battle to begin with. So he was able to take out his fighters. And so there was a temporary lull in German fighters on the board. He was able to replace them right away. But that temporary lull, that's the opportunity that I took to go in and attack that. To me, you know, like it's an interesting dynamic and all. And I don't dispute the fact that it has some merit and all. But what I don't like about it is it's too powerful. Like Russia was stymied so often up there when they were still in the game up here, because he had planes on here and planes on here, and so Russia couldn't attack anywhere in here without planes scrambling into those zones. Right? Another rule that we played with was the defenders planes could retreat. That was an interesting thing too.
Yeah.
But I want to say with these air bases and scrambling, like this was a unique game in the sense that double impulsed here. So all these air bases here, that I would never have even the factory or the air bases. Like the Russians was scorched earth.
Double impulse.
Yeah. So all this would have been negated too, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the ones in Germany. But you know, we did find that there was a lack of air bases in this game, and we don't know.
Yeah.
The rules that we were playing with are not finished, right? So we really appreciate the opportunity to be able to play the rules before the game is out. That was really cool, but they're not quite finished. So it made us wonder at times. Well, did they just not forget to put the airbase here? Why isn't it on the map?
Yeah,
you know,
is
and
it
things like that.
intentional?
Because there were several places on
Like
the map.
Romania
where
used to have
there-
it even in
there's one
G40.
right there. Romania used to have an airbase, but it seemed like there was 5 or 6 air bases missing. Wasn't there one in southern France or two?
Yeah.
It used to be Marseille. You know, there's a bunch of them that aren't there anymore. Crimea, I think
Yeah,
they used to
I think
have
so,
one.
yeah.
That was gone, and a lot of the neutrals, some of their factories, like there should be a factory in Istanbul. I think there was no factory in there, but that's just, you know, like these things will all be finalized. When you're transferring the rules from one game to another, you know, you don't necessarily do it all at once, or
Yeah.
don't know where they're at with that. It could be that those air bases are never going to show up in the game, that those are the new setups, or it could be that they haven't been added to the setups yet. We don't know, but it was
Very different.
yeah.
It totally changed how you had to play.
Yeah. And also for experienced players like us, it was interesting to try to navigate our way through new rules. No, that's not what it is. And
There's a lot of that. Yeah.
thanks to my friend Morton, who was a play tester for historical board gaming. He's in Denmark. Him and I exchanged a few emails during this game, and he clarified a few things for us, which was really good. He's a really good player. His play group is a really good play group, and they do a lot of play testing, and so like the Convoy rules, I think they were the ones that came up with them, and he swears that, you know, you can do it, but I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to go back to our drawing board. Maybe they just haven't tried with big wolf packs like we had today. I don't know. Anyway, what else, guys? Is there any more, or are we gonna go eat?
I don't know. Terrain. Yeah, we have covered that.
Yeah, Tundra was really
I
a
don't
nothing
even
burger.
know what the point of that is.
What did you think of the strategic redeployment for navies?
Oh,
I like
did
that one, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever use your aircraft redeployment? I guess you don't have as much.
Yeah, we did a couple times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, I found the.
I like that
To get aircraft up from Great
Yeah.
Britain
Yeah.
to down here,
Yeah,
like he was
the
able to get
double
it all the way down there.
non-combat move.
The double
for-
non-combat, yeah.
What he's talking about, there's a couple things. There's naval, strategic naval movement, and so what that is on non-combat move. Each nation has a capacity. America's, for instance, is 4. Britain's was 3. Do you remember what any of yours were?
It was all 2, I think, for mine.
Oh, okay. So depending on what kind of how big
4
of a
for Japan, yeah.
seafaring nation they were, they would have more or less, right? And what it was you could go from friendly naval base of any kind to friendly naval base, 5 spaces on non-combat. And so, like the Americans had just set up their transport truck, right? And their transport truck is completely set up because once Americans reach here in the English Channel, then it's 5 spaces to get back to here. And they just, they take their 4 transports back. And then they come down here to where they've got a shipyard. Then they come up here, and then their 4 transports come all the way back. So, I mean, that really worked really well. But then there's the strategic air thing that he mentioned too. And what that is if you haven't moved your plane, then you could move it double its normal spaces. So like a fighter goes 4, you could move it 4 spaces, and then you could move it 4 more. Or maybe it was at an air base and you moved it 5 spaces. Like let's say you moved it from Great Britain to here, then you move it from here to here. That was one way to get your planes a long ways, and it helped getting planes from around Germany all the way up to Russia, because he had pushed himself quite far in there really early, right? And it helped rank when he was coming down to link up down here, and then it was just one more turn to fly him over to FEC, because FEC doesn't make much money. So those were,
Yeah,
I like those rules.
FEC can't build any ships. That was
That was one thing that was crazy.
Yeah. So-
Like FEC's got this major dockyard here, but it doesn't have, like, you need either a major or a minor shipyard. Now we get the fact that they're not going to have a major shipyard because they can't build capital ships. But all they have here, they have a minor dockyard and they have a major dockyard. Those things don't build ships. So you can't even build a transport in FEC.
So if Japan wiped out my navy, I'm done.
And we couldn't find anywhere in the rules where you could upgrade any of these to a shipyard. Like you could upgrade this to a major dockyard, you could upgrade this to a major port. You know what I mean? But you couldn't upgrade any, like a port or a dockyard into a shipyard, even into a minor shipyard. So like these guys, you would have had to have spent, I don't know what it is, $15 or something like that to build a shipyard from scratch.
3 turns
a
of 5 to build it or nothing.
Yeah, and so that just wasn't worth it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, the fact that the UK, the biggest navy the world had ever seen, when this game starts, right? By far the biggest navy and the biggest empire for that matter, at the time, could only build ships on that tiny little island over there. That's the only place.
Australia could also
And
build it too,
Australia
but it
could
only
build
makes
small ships
$7.
over here.
So
Yeah. So that
and I can't
kinda
lease
kind of weird.
FEC money to Australia to build ships, right?
And there's also no capacity in Canada. Although Doug and I talked about that when I was doing the Canada war set, and of course you need a minor shipyard in order to build the corvettes, which were a feature of the Canada war set. So we added our own minor shipyard over there. That's the sculpture from Combat Miniatures. So we added that, and that became our minor shipyard. But that's what these guys need down here is a minor shipyard too. Like we get that they're not going to build capital ships, but and a minor shipyard, and all it does is build 2 ships. That's it. Two
not
non-capital.
capital ships.
Yeah.
I understand not having a major shipyard that you can't build a battleship or a heavy battleship or super carrier or something crazy.
Yeah. Like you look over here, and these guys have got a minor shipyard right here, right?
And there needs to be that threat to the Japanese that they can't just focus on one direction. There needs to be a shipyard capacity for.
Yeah, you knew I couldn't build any more navy there.
I felt safe, like I could focus my attention here, and it was only the Anzac over there that I was concerned about. So.
Yeah, and they can afford a sub.
Yeah.
If they save their money, they can get
That's
a
right.
destroyer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it took me 3 turns to buy. Actually, I built that fighter in Lend-Lease through that Canada factory for $8 cheaper, and then it took me 4 turns to build a fighter and a light carrier to put it on for Australia.
One of the things we also did with is that screening ships.
Yes, screening ships. I like that rule.
Yeah. Although we did it wrong, Morton pointed that out after he seen the video. What he was saying was like we had that on video. I think it was the same one. No, like we had a screen. I had a screen force here, and so he had to stop here and fight it before he could go here and kill the Americans. He goes, you didn't have to do that, you know. He wasn't at war with the Americans. He just could have went right through them. And, oh yeah, right. Even though that's pretty cheesy. So okay, that was a bad example that we showed you, but that's how it works. So it is exactly how we showed you. It's just Japan didn't have to do that. We just didn't realize that, right?
That works good.
But I don't think he can complain about how it worked out though. It kept America off the board.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
So
that was very well played.
Is there anything else we want to talk about? That's a solid no. I'm getting hungry. Anyway, so we hope that you enjoyed this. I know we sure enjoyed it. We had a blast playing this game, and we're glad that you guys could all join us. And I'm going to have another video, a separate video. I'm going to leave the board set up. We're going to leave town tomorrow. We're going to go out to the cabin. And when I come back, I'll make another short video after I've had some more time to think about and digest what we've done here. So, take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.